I've been on record before, both here and on the blog, about my opinions on anime streaming, especially here in the UK. Crunchyroll have a reasonable service with a few flaws and room to grow, but they're the best offering we can at least get over here. But they've definitely got some gaps in their coverage. In part because Funimation, if they pick up rights, because they are in America a rival to Crunchyroll, they tend to not sublicense many, if any, of their shows, which means that if it ends up on Funimation in America, it can't get on Crunchyroll over here, and to this day, Funimation's UK offering is still a wee bit subpar. And I've lamented long and hard about the state of the anime industry and the things that could be done to help. And then some really big news dropped last night. Just too late for me to record something. So I've been waiting all day at work to get back and to talk about this. Greetings! Very, very unexpected news. Funimation and Crunchyroll have entered into a distribution partnership. Basically meaning that things that are licensed by Funimation will now show up on Crunchyroll's service. Certainly going forward. There's not a lot of news yet about the back catalogue, but there's one or two already creeping through. And shows that are picked up, I guess, specifically by Crunchyroll, where they pick up the rights, including the home rights, those will now also end up on Funimation's service. The advantage to this, obviously, is that Funimation's pickups can now show up on Crunchyroll. The other advantage to this, especially for dub fans, and there are some out there, quite a lot. I might not be one of them, but, they're an important voice, and as we're talking about business here, they are potential paying customers. Stuff that Crunchyroll picks up now can get dubs, and also a home release through, Funimation. So yeah, I think it's definitely going to be useful here in the UK. I mean, as Funimation's pickups can now end up on Crunchyroll, that means they're going to get onto a half-decent UK service. Up until now, it's been Viewster who tried but just couldn't get it right. Animax who... and, now it's like, okay, Funimation's pickups can end up on Crunchyroll. As I said before, Crunchyroll's own pickups get a shot at broadcast dubs and decent home video release. And again, the thing about dubs, especially I think that's going to affect here in the UK, is that, if like me, you're a fan of subtitled anime, and even if, like me, you actually really couldn't care less about the dubs and don't watch them, don't even really like them, people like myself, we're fine, stuff gets simulcast, fine. Want to rewatch it again whilst waiting for the home release? Not a problem. I'll just fire it up on Crunchyroll, or whatever. If you like dubs, well, once the broadcast has happened, and the simulcasts are finished, and then it's waiting for a home release to be announced, and then in the UK waiting for the UK distributor to pick it up, and then for it to be the usual lag behind the American and often Australian versions as well, just because of the way international business tends to work. Yeah, if you like a dub, you've got a long wait for a show, unless it's one of Funimation's ones, which would get a broadcast dub, where you'd be getting a dubbed episode within usually within a month of the original broadcast date. Now that'll apply for Crunchyroll's own pickups as well. The other thing is, it now gets a step closer to a one-stop shop for legal anime, whilst still having multiple companies in the picture, because it's a distribution partnership, not a merger. So Funimation and Crunchyroll, they are still separate companies. They still have their own aims, their own drives, their own way of doing things. They will probably still be competing to pick up the same licenses. They might end up still showing everything, but they'll still be picking up, basically sort of whose name shows up as associated with it in the Western world. So yeah, they're still rival companies. Also, there's still more than one company, so they can focus on more things than any one company can do. But yeah, I think it will help. And having everything in the one place, that's something I have gone on record, I think not on a vlog but in one of my blogs, saying the problem is you get fragmentation. Some shows are on one service, some shows are on another service. If you're a fan of, for example, if you like subtitle stuff and you like playing it on a certain device, you've got to hope that it's on Crunchyroll, or at least it's all on the same service. If you're a fan of broadcast dubs, you've got to hope that it's all, being picked up by Funimation. And immediately you end up with two groups who are actually best served by the other group being not served, if you see what I mean. Now suddenly you get a one-stop shop where both groups are catered for, but also you can get all your legal stuff in one place through one payment, and it gets rid of even more of the arguments that people use when trying to use fan subs or illegal streaming sites. It's like, well, I don't want to have to sign up to 3 different paid monthly accounts. It's like, you don't. You just got to sign up to one now. But they don't have everything. They have some things, but they're missing some of the titles. Yeah, have a look now the two companies are working together. It helps. It helps a lot. And of course, the thing is, as both will pick up home rights for shows, if Funimation pick up home rights for shows, yes, you always get some people who blind buy, but as a general rule, they will only really get word of mouth through Funimation subscribers and from people who use fan subs. Similarly, the stuff that Crunchyroll picks up, the people who are going to kind of already grow to love a show are going to be either Crunchyroll subscribers or people who watch fan subs. This way, even if the other company, or the fact that the other company will now stream it as well, means that there's more eyeballs and more potential home release customers down the line. So, they watch it on the competitor's site, but then they buy the home release from you. So yeah, it's definitely, I think going to be a good thing. Now, obviously, there are a few potential questions, like what effect this could have on other physical distributors like Sentai, because that's going to depend on, how much of the stuff that previously shows up on Crunchyroll and ends up being released by Sentai, how much of that was Sentai picking up the home release rights independently of Crunchyroll getting the streaming rights, and how much of it was Sentai getting all of the rights and sub-licensing the streaming, or Crunchyroll getting all the rights and sub-licensing the home release. That is going to maybe affect some of the other distributors. And could it affect competition in the streaming space if two of the bigger names, or bigger anime related names, are working together? Or will the competition keep going via friendly rivalry? Personally, I suspect the latter. Also, in a way, they are kind of taking a step towards, the Netflixes and the Hulus and the like. We are big, kind of, we stream all kinds of stuff, and we're going to get into anime as well. But it's kind of, they don't quite have the same passion for anime that a dedicated service does. And sort of by banding together as, we are the anime streaming sites, they're kind of saying, look, we want to make sure that stuff is what the fandom wants to watch, because if the fandom are well supported, they're less likely to go for pirate stuff, and they're therefore ultimately more likely to buy stuff or subscribe to legal sites. If an increasing amount of stuff ends up showing up on stuff like Netflix or Hulu, if they handle it great, fine. If they don't handle it great, then people are going to go to other means to watch the stuff, and again, afterwards, they might not bother buying it. Or the more legal ones won't bother watching it because they don't want to watch it on the service it's on, and they don't want to pirate it, and then by the time there's finally a home release, they just don't give a damn anymore. Now, there's already some titles that are either live or in the process of going live. Certainly, the stuff that's now showing up on Crunchyroll, Cowboy Bebop, at least in the US and Canada, Puzzle and Dragons X, US, Canada, UK, and Ireland, The Grey Man Hallow, US, Canada, UK, Ireland, South Africa, and various other European territories, First Love Monster, again, North America and multiple other territories, Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash, the same, Psycho Pass, US, Canada, UK, Ireland, South Africa. That's just the stuff that's already showed up or showing up on Crunchyroll that's licensed by Funimation. And then, you will also get, some shows like Ace Attorney, Eldramin on the Sky, Joker Game, Real Life, and one or two others that now they are being planned to have, Funimation home release, and some things like 91 Days, Mob Psycho 100, and Orange will be getting English language broadcast dubs on Funimation now. So obviously that's probably going to take a little bit longer because the shows have to be dubbed. But already we are seeing advantages for people who subscribe to either service, and to be honest, things that people subscribe to both services. But as both services are saying in their FAQs, as a general rule, if you want subtitled stuff, you will get it through Crunchyroll. If you like dubbed stuff, you'll get it through Funimation. But there will now be a much greater overlap between the shows that you can watch on each service, regardless of whether or not it's initially licensed by either service. And I think this is a good thing. Heck, even if it wasn't being done for simulcast and it was a case of, one company gets it for a simulcast, but then as soon as the broadcast period's over, it then opens up for streaming on other services, that's still got the same advantage of, you might not be able to watch something exactly when it comes out, but you can still watch it legally before there's a home release, and that's always going to be useful. But this is just this is an unexpected kind of best way in a way that it could turn out. It seems to have taken a lot of people by surprise. And yes, there are questions of, how well it's going to pan out. And, once we're several months in, we'll have a better idea of how good it is, especially here in the UK when there is still going to be an element of regional rights involved. But certainly when one or other company picks up all regions' rights, they will be able to push it onto the other service for all regions, or at least all English language speaking regions. As far as I'm aware, they haven't yet got any plans for outside of English speaking territories, but you never know. You know, things are happening now. And I think it's going to help Funimation in the UK. Because, so far, they've been using a couple of non ideal streaming solutions. Then they've brought out their own, which still just lags behind Crunchyroll. And a lot of people are still kind of going, well, you're not doing it this way, and this is how I like to watch stuff. And, suddenly it's like, yeah, Funimation will stop being a byword for these are shows that it's going to be bloody difficult to watch legally in the UK to, oh cool, just a different splash screen at the front of when I watch it on Crunchyroll. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, and I think this is going to help. And I've always maintained that having streaming services that also deal with licensing collaborate so that they don't deal with exclusives, I think that can only be a good thing for the market and for the fandom, and to be honest, probably for the company's bottom lines. Because as I said, it gets more people watching their product. You know, and maybe more people buying the physical product afterwards. So yeah, watch this space, but things are getting interesting. Very much so. And with that, see ya.